Hey everyone, and welcome back to Financial Freedom by 40. My name's Kelly, and today I'm answering your questions. So, one of the questions we had just recently was, where is the best place to find a property to buy as a rental? So, that's a bit of a tricky question. There's lots of places you can look to buy rental properties, and in all honesty, in the start, we spent a lot of our time just trawling through TradeMe and realestate.co.nz to find properties. We reached out to agents, we went around lots of open homes and visited houses. Back in the olden days, we had Property Press magazine. We used to take that around and go and have a look. But the best way that we've found to find deals that work as rental properties is through relationships with property agents. So the best deals that we have found, so some of it, so we've found, I'll touch upon how we've found all our different properties. So some of them we have just found through TradeMe or realestate.co.nz. We found a listing, we've reached out to the agent, and we've gone to have a look at the property and made an offer that way. Those that tends to work pretty well if the market's a little bit slow and there aren't too many people looking. When the market starts to get hot, though, it's a lot harder to find properties using that technique. So what we've found is actually having really good relationships with agents is really helpful, and it's really we found that sort of the best way to build a relationship with agents is to be really active and actually putting in offers, and in particular when you're buying properties. So I think there's probably, I mean, agents probably deal with a lot of people who are maybe not quite ready to buy yet, or I don't want to say tire kickers because it takes quite a lot of time to sometimes find the right deal, but that there's people out there who I guess some agents feel like are wasting their time. They might show them a lot of houses and they never put an offer in on any. We were certainly those people to start with. When we were trying to get a feel for the market, we looked at loads and loads of properties and didn't put any offers in. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but in terms of the relationships with the agents, they actually want to know you're serious, because ultimately they make their money by the commission on houses. So houses that they sell. So if you buy from them, then they know you're serious. So the probably one of the best deals that we found was through an agent that we'd bought a house off previously. So we the first house we bought through him had actually come to us through a property finder. I'll touch upon them shortly, but that person had brought us to a house that this agent was showing. We ended up buying that house through the agent, and what happened was maybe 6 months later, maybe a bit longer, maybe 9 months later, he had a property come onto his books that the person was really desperate to get rid of. They had inherited it and felt like they'd inherited a problem. So before that property had even made it onto TradeMe or any the agent's website, that agent had actually phoned us directly and said, "Look, I know there's this property. I know that you're looking for properties. This person, really wants to get it sold. Is this something that would be of interest to you?" So we had that property under contract before really anybody else had ever seen it. It wasn't live on any of the listing sites. I don't know if the agent had called other investors also, but like I say, we had it under contract before it was advertised publicly, and we ended up going ahead and buying that property. So we had practically no competition as far as I'm aware. And the vendor was happy with the price we offered. So, we took the property off the market almost straight away. So that worked really, really well for us. And we just wouldn't have got that deal without having the relationship with the agent. Now, a few of the properties we've bought, we've looked at, and we've bought at least two through a buyer's agent. So I don't think this is quite as common now, but this is where you have an agency that actually goes out and proactively looks for properties that meet investor needs, and they negotiate them, they get them under contract, and then they offer them to investors for sale. So I think there's still a couple of companies around that run it like that. That was another good way for us to find properties that work for us. It meant that while we were also looking for properties, there were other agents that were on the ground looking at properties as well, and they knew what we were looking for. They would come to us and say, "Look, we've got this we've got this property under contract. Is it something that would interest you? And we can have a look at it, see if it, met our requirements, met our criteria, and then we can have a look at it if we wanted to. And then you pay them a fee to do that. So it's usually a few $1,000s, or it was at least when we did this, to buy the contract off them, and then they assign the contract to you and you buy it that way. Again, a really good way of I guess in that case you're making the most of the buying agents relationships with agents. So they're regularly getting properties under contract and passing them on to investors. They have the relationships with the agents, so often they'll have that relationship of being able to get those properties under contract before they're sort of widely known about in the public. So yeah, that can mean that you can spread yourself across, looking at lots of different areas, because you might have those agents in certain areas, particularly out of town. Really helped us with out of town purchases to have a buyer's agent working for us. In a couple of cases, those buyer's agents, when we were looking at out of town properties, they met the building inspector. They one of them even went to the council for us and got a the property CD file, because we couldn't get it sent. That sounds ridiculous to say CD, but it was a CD, not an electronic file. So we weren't able to get to that city and go to the council and buy the CD ourselves. So he got the CD and couriered us the CD with all of the documents on for us to have a look at, to decide if that was a good deal for us. So yeah, so those are sort of the main ways we've gone about buying properties, finding properties. A couple of other things I would say that's made it a lot easier, I think, for us too, is being really proactive with those relationships. So it's kind of the hot deals don't stick around. So when an offer comes to you, or an agent brings you an offer, or a buyer's agent brings you an offer, or you see one on, you happen to come across one on the likes of a Trade Me or a Real Estate.co.nz or those kind of websites. If it looks too good to be true, or it seems too good to be true, everybody's going to want that property. So you have to act really quickly. So getting on there and sort of casually sending an agent an email and hoping to get a response is probably not going to get you the response that you want. I know that hasn't worked for me in the past. When it's been a hot market, emailing, I used to do a lot of emailing agents in the middle of the night when I was up breastfeeding babies. And so that would not always be the best technique, because even if I was lucky to catch them at 2 o'clock in the morning, I might be the first email they see. But a lot of the time, the best way was just to pick up the phone and get out to look at those properties as quickly as possible. Sometimes we even put offers in on properties that we hadn't seen yet. So just because of the urgency, we could put an offer and get it under contract and then go and see the property to make sure that we had it sort of signed up before other people got in on the deal. So that's probably all I have to say about the best ways to find a rental property, or at least the ones that have worked for us. But if you have any other questions, feel free to drop me a comment, and I am more than happy to do a video to answer your questions, or answer it on post on our Instagram, which is also at Financial Freedom by 40. So if you want to keep up to date with all the videos, then just make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you get the reminders, and I hope to see you again soon.